You know what I like about being here? We're family. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, July 9th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Starting off with the big launch of this summer. Not usually not a lot of games that are launching in the summer, but now we have one coming out today. Monster Hunter Stories 2. I was surprised to see this. I haven't gotten into the Monster Hunter Stories series, but I've watched some gameplay, and I'm a little bit excited about it. I'm wondering. I never thought the narrative in the Monster Hunter games were ever too strong, but the game is off to a good start. It's currently at an 81 Metacritic, so I think people are enjoying their playthrough. I haven't looked too much into the game because, I haven't gotten too much onto the Monster Hunter wagon other than when I played Worlds. So I'm kind of waiting for the next big flagpole titles, but I am excited to see that Capcom is putting more and more money and investing in the Monster Hunter series because it's a great series. I'm really excited to see more for what's coming with Monster Hunter. PlayStation also had its direct style state of play this week. They ran through, it was about 30 minutes long. They ran through about a dozen or so titles. The first one that they showed off was Moss Book 2, which is it's an action RPG that you play as a mouse. And I didn't play the first one, but I was kind of liked what I saw in the second trailer. So I might actually go back and look into what that game's all about. So that one really caught my eye. I also saw Tribes of Midgard, which we had seen at the Gearbox Publishing E3 show. So they're getting more and more ramping up towards launch with Tribes of Midgard. There was also a third-person action kung fu game called Sifu, but some fans were sad that the game has been pushed out to 2022 because they were expecting it this year. We also had the next in the Judgment series, Lost Judgment, coming out in September. And I made a small quip about it last week, but they make director's cuts for video games now, and Sony really is making this is really kind of getting behind this. So Death Stranding is getting a director's cut that comes out on September 24th. So we could see more of these coming up in the future. Lastly, we saw about 10 minutes of Deathloop gameplay. I've seen enough. I'm excited to play the game. They talked about the chime that happens when the person invades or when the character invades and is trying to kill you. So I'm pretty excited about that. I haven't played any of the Dishonored games, but the kind of style and gameplay of it really seems like something I would grapple into and really enjoy. So I'm very much looking forward to playing Deathloop on September 14th. The Switch, the next Switch model is here. So the Switch Pro, it's happening. It's not happening. So it seems like all those rumors that were kind of spinning up about a Switch Pro were actually about this new Switch model. It is called the Switch OLED. It's got a 7-inch OLED screen, but it still runs at 1080p. It doesn't have any more frame rate. It has a larger storage capacity. It now stores 64 gigabytes of memory. It's got a new dock with a built-in LAN port. My favorite part was the kind of white Joy-Cons. I like the crisp white Joy-Cons that come with it. It also has improved audio and a new dock. The dock with the LAN port. So it's $50 more than a current top-of-the-line Switch, so $350 for it. I read an article talking about how this isn't going to affect, Nintendo's projections for how Switch is going to sell. I also saw hands-on impressions, and they kind of broke down like, is this for new people who are like looking to get a Switch and want to get a bigger and bulkier one, or kind of who is this for? I'm kind of interested in it in that I never saw much use for the Switch because it was so small. The Switch like handheld playing with multiple people, and I think that's what the intention was with this new Switch model, was to get more people to undock it and run around with it and play multiplayer games with it. But so that's kind of where my interest is peaked, but I'm still kind of waiting for what the rumor mill was talking about with like 4K and and 60 FPS and better hardware. So I think I'll wait out for that one, but let me know what you think of the new Switch OLED down in the comments below. Got a cool trailer, about a 2-minute trailer talking about the Lord of the Rings Gollum game. A creative director at Daedalic got on the screen and talked for about 3 minutes about the stealth action. We got a little bit of gameplay, and he kind of narrated over the gameplay of just what you'll be doing, and you're really kind of exploring Middle Earth from Gollum's perspective, but always in a way that you're like on no one's side. You're all self-centered. So I wonder how much, like, you know, as someone who likes to play the Paragon, it'd be kind of interesting to play as this irredeemable character potentially. So I'm excited to play. That's why I had to bring it up. I'm really excited for Lord of the Rings Gollum. I'm excited to get back into Middle Earth. So looking forward to playing that soon. Google had a series of legal action taken against them. 36 states are filing antitrust laws against them in their Play Store. This is in reference to the fact that the only way to buy and get your app onto Android phones is through the App Store. So I think this is also in response to, I think something similar has happened to Apple recently. I can't quite remember when that happened, but yeah, a lot of states are now starting to like file these trust laws against Google, and I'm surprised it's kind of taken this amount of time, like, to realize like platform holders aren't the only way that people should be able to get their content out there. But that could have big ramifications for the games industry as well as any mobile app market. So interesting to see what comes out of this. Among Us is releasing collector's editions. I think I've talked about kind of some of these in the past, but the collector's editions are now starting to pop up. There's a $90 edition that comes with like a plush and a map and a pin and a steelbook case. And then there's like a $50 edition that just comes with a steelbook case and the pin. And then there's a $30 that just comes with a steelbook case and something like that. I have a link down to all of them below, but I am really excited for Among Us. They're working with Limited Run Games to create these physical editions of Among Us, so I'm very excited to check those out, potentially pick one of those up. The Undead Plague is spreading across Azeroth once again. This is in reference to Blizzard and Z-Man Games, the company behind Pandemic, are teaming up to make a Pandemic-style game, but using the Wrath of the Lich King kind of setting and scenario for their game. So if you enjoyed Pandemic and playing Pandemic with your friends, and you like World of Warcraft, this might be right up your alley. Both things that I really love, and it actually comes with like really cool plastic miniatures, which again, another thing that I really like is tabletop miniatures. So being able to get the Lich King and Thrall and a bunch of other characters in small miniature form, very exciting for me. So and I also love Pandemic, so excited to get another World of Warcraft theme board game. I spoke a little bit earlier about this, but director's cuts are apparently becoming more and more of a thing. I know that 2 doesn't necessarily mean that there's a trend and there's going to be a bunch more of them, but I did read an article talking about what other games would people want director's cuts for. Obvious, you know, a couple of the obvious ones like Last of Us and Last of Us 2 would be great, would be very prime for director's cuts. Some of the Nathan Drake games would be prime for director's cuts. I didn't think any of the Spider-Man ones were referenced, but I would probably be interested in playing a director's cut of Spider-Man. Yeah, I just thought it was a pretty interesting topic. I know I picked fun of it last week with Ghost of Tsushima director's cut, but what other director's cuts from Sony exclusives would you like to see? Yeah, I mean, I thought at first these were just going to be vessels to getting kind of more content out there. These were kind of Game of the Year editions, but if they're a little bit more than that and there's like a different narrative to them, or it's like cut in a different way, could be pretty interesting. God of War, another game that I would love to see a director's cut for. So let me know down below what you think should be the next Sony's director's cut. Darkest Dungeon 2 had got more details this week. Red Hook finally opened up about what they've been working on for the past several years. and they talked about kind of your challenges and trials and tribulations along the way with Darkest Dungeon 1, and now Darkest Dungeon 2 has a lot more details. They talked about how you'll be kind of managing this town on the move, and the dungeons will be shorter and quicker for a quick roguelike experience. So I know that in my playthrough of Darkest Dungeon 1, it would getting through a dungeon was quite a commitment. So I'm kind of excited to see a little bit more of a compressed dungeon experience, being able to run that down. I'm wondering if Darkest Dungeon 2 is going to launch on all the platforms that now Darkest Dungeon's on. So if you're going to launch on mobile with Switch and console as well, like people in those markets are going to want different things, and so having quicker dungeons could really help Darkest Dungeon 2. And I'm just excited to hear more of the Ancestor talking to me in his sultry, deep voice. Last but not least, Blizzard is also in a bit of a controversy this week. The latest cinematic for World of Warcraft and the final, I guess, the final cinematic for Shadowlands shows Sylvanas kind of punking out right there at the end. I read up a little bit on this. I haven't played World of Warcraft in quite some time, but the gist of it is that Sylvanas has always been like this terrible person doing terrible things, kind of the ends justify the means, and then right at the end of the cinematic, spoiler alert, right at the end of the cinematic, her conviction, her resolve just kind of fades away to nothing, and that left a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. So this has been going on for quite some time. Sorry to go into deep World of Warcraft lore, but you've had this character that people have known and loved for a couple of decades now, and they just kind of keep dropping the ball on what to do with this character. So it's pretty crazy. I believe the current YouTube for the cinematic has 4,000 upvotes and 10,000 downvotes. So not a very good place to be in for your latest cinematic that you want people to be enjoying. So anyway, I hope they fix something up this week, or fix something up soon. So excited to see more and more World of Warcraft content. Even if I'm not playing it, I do like to follow what's going on with the lore and what's going on with the characters I know and love. That's it for the week. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I'll have links down below in the description. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!